Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Look here, let me tell y'all something about better days are coming, honey. It just be that type of time, right? And so sometimes you have to believe better days are coming, and it's hard to do that when you're dealing with certain issues, right? It's hard to believe that better days are coming when certain things have been put before you. It's hard to believe that better days are coming when just certain things are going on in your life, right? I totally agree. And I've been there. It's hard to focus on better days coming when you got a lot of stuff sitting in front of your face. But you have to just trust and believe that better days are coming. Better days are coming. You know, it's hard to say that, especially when you're grieving. It's hard when you have lost probably your job and your income. Maybe you were put out your house. So it's just hard. You know, when you say better days are coming, it's hard. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Just a little bit of my meditation on today. Alexa, turn music off. So good morning, good morning. Welcome to Coffee and Conversations with Carol. Welcome to Conversations with Carol. You know, I got my mug today. Life happens, coffee helps. And I know it means a little bit to some. When people think like coffee helps, life happens and coffee helps. Yeah, life happens and coffee helps sometimes. Sometimes just drinking a little cup of coffee just lets you know, like, just warm and it gets you going and gets your day going and everything like that. It's Friday, people, October 25th. October 25th. The month is just moving along. I mean, just moving along. So guess what? Happy Friday. Good morning, sis. Good morning, T. Good morning, son. So yes, good morning, good morning, good morning. So, you know, I was thinking about what can I talk about today? Like what really is, you know, what topic are we gonna go for today? And everything like that. This is a hard month for me. My mother and both of my grandmothers have their transition this month. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry. You know, and when you think about when people have transitioned their anniversary date and their memorial date, um, I had a way I was going this morning, and Sister Pooh have just helped me to kind of gear into what I am kind of going to talk about. Now, I told you guys every day I have a devotional. And this is just the way the Spirit works. I'm trying to tell you. And I read my devotional every day. So today, and what you just said, I really wasn't going to read it. I was not going to read what the devotional was today. But Sister Pooh just said, this is a hard month for me. My mother and both of my grandmothers have their transition this month. And she said, I actually call it their new birthday. Oh, that's a way of looking at it too. I didn't look at it like that. So I'm going to read this because I think she needs this today. So I'm going to read it to her. Your prayers have gone up as a memorial before God. And that's Acts 10:4. I'm just going to read it. And devotion today is your prayers will be answered. God told Cornelius, your prayers have gone up as a memorial before me. Memorials are usually built for people who are dead and gone. What a great promise this is. Even after you have gone to heaven, the prayers you pray on behalf of your loved ones become a memorial before God, getting his attention and moving him to action. So don't stop praying. St. Augustine is considered to be one of the most influential figures in the history of Christianity, but he didn't start out well. Young Aurelius Augustinus lived for 3 decades in utter immortality. And after each of those decades, his mother Monica prayed for him, following him to Carthage, to Rome, and on to Milan, weeping, pleading, and assaulting heaven. He said assaulting heaven in prayer on his behalf. Monica lived to see her son become a mighty man of God. You may or may not live to see your loved one turn to Christ, but know this: God says your prayers have gone up as a memorial before me. We're talking about the posthumous power of prayer. John the Revelator caught a glimpse of it when he visited heaven and described what he saw in these words. Then another angel, having a golden censer, came and stood at the altar. He was given much incense that he should offer it with the prayers of all the saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne, and the smoke of the incense with the prayers of the saints ascended before God from the angel's hand. So the word for you today is keep praying and God will answer your prayers. Yes, Libra minds. Yes, Libra minds. So in that it talks about just your prayers will be answered. Whatever you're praying for will be answered. And I know you're talking about this is the transition month, but a prayer of just comfort will be answered. And in that devotion today, whatever is ailing you, meaning whatever is bothering you, whatever situation, whatever circumstance, whatever memory, whatever time is it has you kind of in a space, just pray about it and it will be answered. I also wanted to touch on time management today because I feel like a lot of times people don't think about that. We all have the same 24 hours in a day, right? We all have the same and I'm guilty of it too. I'm totally guilty of this. I'm totally guilty of having the same 24 hours in a day that somebody else has, but not utilizing my 24 hours the way that I should utilize my 24 hours. We all have it. We have 24 hours in a day. You got either 8 hours to work or 16, depending on what kind of work you do. I'm a nurse, so I work 16 hours sometimes. So that leaves me 8 hours to do the rest of the stuff that I need to do, whether that's 5 hours of sleep, 3 hours to clean up a house, wash clothes, or whatever. We all have 24 hours in a day. If we choose to take those hours that we have and do what we want to do with them, and then on the back end, don't do other tasks that need to be done, we then cannot complain. We then cannot get attitudes. We then cannot be the one to sit on the back and be mad. If you're going to be mad at anybody, guess who you got to be mad at? Yourself. You have to be mad at yourself, okay? All three of Earth's birthdays are in July. So, yes, I have to stay in prayer, my headspace off. Oh, my goodness. Yes. But pray about it, and He's going to show you comfort on that. And then you might just need to take some time. We're talking about time management today. You might need to take some time in some space and think about those memories of those loved ones. Sit down and think about good memories of your grandmothers and your mom. And think about the times you guys had, maybe some pictures that you can bring out and think about those times. And I know for me, for me, it brings about some comfort because that thinking about that is hard, and losing a loved one is traumatic in some ways for a lot of people. Some may say that it's not for them, but I like to think of it as sometimes as traumatic because it is something that comes about as a shocker sometimes for you, and to a point where you the one that have to deal with it. I have loved ones that have had traumatic things happen to them. I see friends up and down my timeline on Facebook losing their children and everything. I even have sisters who have lost their children. So when you think about memorializing and taking that time to really, really, really go into a space to hold for you, I totally understand it. Yeah, you have to find space and time for management for therapy. And some people do, because guess what? At the end of the day, we all have circumstances and situations. And here's the thing about life and death. We can't control it. We can't control it. We can't control it. Time is time, we have it, but how much time do we have? You don't know. And so, when you think about this is the month that my mom transitioned, my grandmother's transitioned, I got all of this going on in my headspace, you might need to make out some time for a therapy session just to talk about it, to get it, because grief and grieving is individual to each person. Good morning, sister. It's individual to each person. Each person, each person grieves in their own way. And you can't tell nobody how long to grieve. You can't tell nobody how long to grieve. Good morning, Sister Duggar. Good morning, sister. You can't tell anybody how long to grieve. Grief is different for everyone. I remember Regina King, they did an interview with her when her with her son after his passing and transition. And she said grief is love with nowhere to go. That's what she said. And when you really think about that, when you really think about grief is love with nowhere to go, you have all of this emotion and it's just there. And the person that you have the emotion, um, oh, my son knew your nephews. Oh, thank you. Good morning, sister. Yes. And it's there. That grief is just there. It's there and it's nowhere to go. And the emotions that you have, you want to give it to the people who are no longer here. You want to give it to the people who are no longer here. And you know, they have the seven stages of grief. They say it's seven stages of grief that they go through. But I would like to say that it's probably more than seven stages. Those are just some that they have identified. I think those are just some they identified because grief is grief is something that it's hard. It's hard to talk about. It's hard to deal with. And everybody's different with it. Everybody handles it different. And everybody goes through it different. And so time is, they say time heals all wounds, but I don't necessarily believe that time heals all wounds. I think what happens is you begin to adjust and deal with your day to day, and it comes off as healed, but you're still dealing with it. You're just functioning. It's almost like functioning. I hate to put it that way, but it's like a person who has an addiction. I'm going to just use this example. Sometimes you have people who we call functioning addicts, okay? And I'm using it as an example. They go day by day. They go day by day. I believe you never stop grieving. My son knew your nephews. You just adjust. Yep. Yeah, you just adjust. We have to use that energy to love on those that we have around us. Um, I just lost my sister a month ago today. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, you do have to use the loved ones around you to adjust with that. But I think too, like I was saying with that function, they just function. They're gonna do what they're gonna do, and then they can go to work. They can ultimately pay their bills and everything. And I don't know how they do it, but they do. But they do. I'm getting a poor connection on my Instagram. So if you guys keep seeing it pausing, it keeps saying poor connection. I don't know what's going on with my internet, but the rest of them look like they're going. Sister Chrissy said you never stop grieving, you adjust or you adapt. And yes, you do adjust, you do adapt, but it's still, when you think about the memorial date of the transition, or you think about the circumstances that follows it, or you think about the birthdays or holidays or just special times, that's when you kind of bring it to the forefront. It's always there, but it's never in the forefront, I think. Because for me, um election year is hard for me because that's when my father transitioned. And so for me, I deal with it in my own way. Um and everything. And your dad's transition is next month. My dad is transition is next month. And so for me, it was difficult. It's still difficult. I don't talk about it a lot with others. Normally it's just me and the Lord. Talking about it because I just give it to him. I don't give that to anybody else. There's some things that we kind of laugh about amongst ourselves as siblings, but for me it was a very traumatic experience because I was the one performing CPR. And so you don't find most people saying that, but yeah, it's very difficult for me to even talk about it. So, when I think about it, and for me, I beat myself up. So that's why I do have a therapist. I'm serious. And so because I'm a nurse. And so when you think about every day you going to work and saving lives and doing CPR, and then you have a loved one who goes down who needs it, and then you can't do anything about it. that's sort of like where I'm at in my space. But I deal with it and I still, get up and get things done and do things, but it's a space that I live in every blue moon. I don't stay there. And that's the important thing. We can have our difficult times, but we just don't stay there. Sister Brother Terrence said, I found taking some time in the morning when you wake up, pray for a peaceful mind and peace in your heart. Yeah, and I think that works. Praying for a peaceful mind, and peace in your heart can keep you going. Also, you can do some things where you take out time to kind of, like I said, sit and just be aware. Be aware of where your feelings at. Yeah, Sister Tina said, don't abide in the grief. Sister Chrissy said it's still difficult. Um, yeah, it's still difficult, but don't abide in it. I agree with. I don't stay there. I go there, but I don't stay there. And I don't try to make my grief worse than someone else's, or I don't try to make my sadness more at the top than somebody else's sadness. I think sadness is sadness and grief is grief. And we all do it in our own ways, and we all do it differently. And I think we grieve differently, because everybody doesn't love the same either. So you love differently, you grieve differently. Um, yeah, very tough topic today. And you have to just, find someone that you can talk to. If it's a therapist, a family member, a loved one, but you find someone that you talk to. But don't stay there too long. Some people like to pick up other things to grieve with. Um, and that's where, I think addiction can come in at, turning to other things that are not of good use for you or your body, like drinking or drugs of that nature. And so when you feel that you are going into that space, I would recommend you finding a professional to help you with to do that. I know my son Terrence, who's online right now, and he doesn't mind me saying it. Uh, Not only did he have a tragic accident last year, but then they lost their father just a month ago. So, with that being said, I talk to him a lot because he had an addiction. And so every day we talk, and he can be a testament to that, that we talk every day about, how he's feeling, where his mind is, and everything like that, especially when he's thinking about his father and his father's transition. Where are you at today? Do you need to call, anybody today? Because he is in programs to help him to get that off his space, his mind space, and to help him to be clearer in his thinking. I I can talk to them, but there are professionals. And like I say, I'm not a professional therapist. I'm a good listener. I got some good advice I can give, but I do give the advice that there is nothing wrong with having a therapist in your corner who can help you to get through that. Even when you're thinking of the memorials of your loved ones, and we lose our parents and things of that nature. But I've always said, even to my sister, and to a lot of the mothers I know, I say, when you lose a child, those are some of the strongest women I know. I've not been in that position. And so I always say that, you lose your siblings and things of that nature, and nobody understands it. But when you lose a child, I look at those parents and I go, you're the strongest person that I know. And yeah, they're the strongest people I know, because day by day, that holding that in, knowing that, you know, can be rough, can be rough. Any death is rough, but losing a child is rough. It's rough. So yeah, tough topic today. Sister Pooh was in a space, and so we wanted to help our sister out today. But very tough topic today. And So I did read the devotional. If you want to know what the devotion was about, it was about your prayers will be answered. You can rewind and go back over that. Um, but it was saying in there too how prayers are a memorial sent up, and that having therapy is not a bad thing. No, having therapy is not a bad thing, not at all. But yeah, it she was in a space, and I hope we said something to help her in her space today, to get through that time when you're thinking of those loved ones that you lost. Sister Duggar, hoping that we said something to you today to help you get through that space. A month ago is very short. And I know that my children's father, my ex-husband, passed away almost a month ago. So, just being in that space of losing a loved one, someone that's been a part of your life is great. Brother T said, yeah, every day is a challenge, and talking every day helps getting out of the house. Taking long walks while listening to music helps, and admitting you have a problem and facing it helps you overcome. So he said, admitting that you have a problem and facing it helps you to overcome. And it's a challenge every day, especially when you're dealing with people who have transitioned. But getting out of the house and listening to music for him and taking long walks and just talking about it helps him every day. So I hope that we have said something to help people who have a space that they go into during transitional anniversaries and memorial anniversaries, to help them to push through and to get through. Our affirmation for today is: you and only you are ultimately responsible for who you become and how happy you are. You and only you. You and only you are ultimately responsible for who you become and how happy you are. And I think that is very befitting. Sister Michelle Obama was on a platform, and she was doing an interview, and and this is what she said. She said she tell her girls every day, you practicing who you're gonna be. If you wake up late, you're gonna be a late person. If you're trifling, practicing trifling, you're gonna be a trifling person. If you up cussing somebody out every day, every morning, that's who you are practicing to be. So you and only you are ultimately responsible for who you become and how happy you are. So let's practice some good things so that we can be good to ourselves. And not only good to ourselves, but good to our family members and our friends and our neighbors and just people general, right? Because we're all humans and we all deserve some goodness, right? So let's practice those things. You guys have a great day. Thank you for joining me on this beautiful Friday. I want you guys to have a great weekend. Remember to live, love, never ever stop laughing, always find room to forgive, because guess what? Ain't none of us perfect. And remember, one love. We all need some love in our life, all right? Uh, no, you did not bring down the group today, Sister Pooh. No, 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 no. No, you did not bring down the group. Sister Borders, love and prayers for you all. Good morning, husband. We are wrapping up. But no, you did not bring down the group today. My nose is just a running. No, you didn't bring down the group today. I want you guys to have a beautiful, beautiful weekend. I will talk to you all later. Have a beautiful day, beautiful weekend. Love you guys. No, Sister Pooh, you did not.